What is going on, everyone? Welcome back into another live edition of the Patriots Beat podcast here on the CLNS Media Network, presented by our wonderful friends over at Prize Picks. It's Brian Hines back as always with Alex Barth. We're in week 8. We're flying along here. The Cleveland Browns coming to town. The Patriots are finally back at home. Barth, the Browns defense, one of the best in the league, which I've seen some people for that fact throughout that trap game word that we've talked a lot about, it feels like, the last few weeks. The other end of the spectrum, though, the Browns offense with Dylan Gabriel, one of the worst in the league. So how do you feel about trap game versus a bad offense? You should maybe coast easy to your 5th straight win. Like, just going into this one against this Browns team, where are you at from a big picture standpoint?
I wouldn't call it a trap game just because I think there's some elements to it. Trap game implies it sneaks up on you, and the Browns have the number 1 defense, and they have Myles Garrett, and that should not sneak up on the Patriots. I think being at home, returning home after 3 games on the road and doing so with the winning streak, I don't want to say it's a big spot, but it's a spot you'd expect a team to get up for. I think that there's a lot of incentive for the Patriots to get up for this game. So it's a tricky game. I think of this kind of 3-game week stretch, it's the toughest, compared to the Saints and Titans. But how I would define a trap game, no, I would not call it a trap game.
I'm kind of with you. It could be, a lower scoring game and maybe kind of slow at times, but it should be a game, I feel, where the Patriots should be in control. Maybe even if the scoreboard doesn't show it, right? Like if they're only up 10 points, maybe, but you can just kind of feel they're dominating the level of play. But, you mentioned coming back home. They got to start winning games at home, even against some of these, lesser opponents. And it is a challenge and it is tough because of this Browns defense. And Myles Garrett is a, future Hall of Famer. He's a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Big test for Will Campbell and co. Really good. And it extends beyond Myles Garrett, all 3 levels of this defense for Drake Maye. But, it starts up front with Myles Garrett, this defensive line. Malik Collins is playing really good on the interior. Mason Graham, who they picked one pick in the first round after Will Campbell. So it's a really good front, good playmakers behind it. So how the hell do you slow down Myles Garrett, if at all, in this one?
I mean, there's a number of things you can do, and I don't think you can just do any one thing because they're going to catch on to that and counter. It's having backs and tight ends chip. It's leaving backs and tight ends in the formation. Do they use a 6 offensive lineman? Bootleg, roll out, roll away from him. The biggest thing they can do, though, is establish the run. And if they can establish the run and throw off his timing, that buys you half a second. So the answer is really all of that. It's all the above. I don't think there's any one thing that you do to counter him. You just got to kind of throw everything at him and keep him off guard and keep him off balance.
I do think we'll probably see a good amount of moving pockets, right? Which we've seen plenty throughout the weeks with Drake's mobility, the bootlegs, and all that stuff. But go back to the Steelers-Browns game a couple weeks ago. Like Aaron Rodgers just lights them up on the move, get outside the pocket, move the pocket. Carson Wentz even, that was a London game, had some success with that. So could see some moving pockets away from him. But again, there's a lot of good, defensive linemen on this team. Just it goes beyond Myles Garrett. But yeah, you've seen a lot of guys chip this year. They've done a really good job of chipping tackles whenever they play. So imagine there's a lot of attention put on that and try to limit the amount of pure one-on-one situations up front, pure Drake Maye dropbacks. And then if you could run the ball, you can. Do you think they can build off that success running the football? It is a good defense against the run, and a lot of that, again, starts with Myles Garrett in that front. But do you think they can kind of build that momentum that they got in Tennessee a little bit on the ground game and keep the ground game rolling this week?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to run for 170 yards again or even run for 5 yards per carry. But I do think that they are going to need to build on that and have some success. And it can't be, the Browns have stuffed more runs or stuff runs at higher percentage than any team in the league. It can't be that, right? They got to be getting those 4, 5, 6 yard runs just to stay ahead of the chains, not become one dimensional. Because again, if you become one dimensional, the Browns are good enough where they can stop the run with 4 and they don't necessarily have to play the run to stop the run. So now if they're like, all right, well, they're not really running well to begin with. Now the pass rushers can really pin their ears back and go. So can they do it? Like, it's a challenge. It's the number 1 run defense in the league. I think a lot of it will come down to is which version of Ramondre Stevenson do they get? He was a lot less tentative last week, a lot more aggressive, and still managed to hold on to the football, which is obviously the important thing. But like his approach was different. That wasn't just him getting more holes and running free. His approach looked different. So if he can continue that approach without turning the ball over, I do think they should have some success running the ball again. It won't be 170 yards, but they should have some success. If he kind of goes back in a shell, it's going to be a lot harder, especially if Travion Henderson doesn't get going.
I was going to say, you mentioned Mondre. Do you think we'll see a little bit more Travion? I mean, I assume he plays more than 9 snaps in this one, or maybe not. Like, do you think they're going to kind of work him back into this thing and get Travion maybe try to go a little bit more?
I mean, a little more. I don't. The tough thing is, here's a guy that's having trouble seeing. The game's maybe a little fast for him right now, and this is one of the fastest, most aggressive defensive fronts in the league. So it's a tough spot for him. It's a really tough spot for him, and I do think they need to keep getting him the football because he's not going to get over this hump just watching from the sideline. But if this ends up being a close game, you need the guy that you feel like can produce.
The thing with him, and I agree with everything you said, like how many times this summer did we see him on those downfield kind of wheel routes? Like we were talking, he might be their best vertical threat, right, in the passing game.
Yeah, I mean, they can throw him the ball more, certainly.
And he's got, Taylor and I looked it up today, he's got targeted once on a wheel route this season, and I think it was in the Vegas game, so the first week of the season. So
no, it was in my, was it? Oh, no, that was, it was Stevenson in Miami. It was supposed to be Henderson.
Yeah. And so in Stevenson, even outside, he got the one in Miami, and then he got one, I think, last week. They threw him a wheel route, or he ran a wheel route. So they haven't been using their backs kind of vertical. And I don't know if this is the week to do it. We're talking so much about this front. Like, do you want your backs going downfield like that? But that's been something with Travion, just because we saw so much of it in the summer. In Minnesota in the joint practices, he had like a 70-yard touchdown on like one of the first plays in a 2-minute drill. And then they tried to run that same kind of pick wheel in the preseason game in Minnesota, and they didn't haul it in, but they ran that so much and then they just kind of ditched that. So I would like to see at some point, again, maybe not this isn't the week, but try to get him downfield a little bit, use that ability in the passing game. And then, hopefully you can find some point in a game to get him some consistent carries and try to get him going a little bit that way. So, but we'll see with Travion, because it is a tough week again.
Yeah, even though the Patriots are a better team, just the way this thing lines up, this could be a tough matchup. This could be a close game. I don't think this is the week you reinvent the wheel. Yeah. I think you do what you need to do to win this game. Style points are certainly not a thing here, because again, the Patriots are the better team. Between the Saints, Titans, and Browns, the team that can quickly flip it is the Browns. So just get out with the win, keep the winning streak going, and you're on to Atlanta.
Especially if you're doing asking a lot in your backs and pass pro, right? And that's where Mondre has been really impressive. But for Drake, I would say, this could be the toughest defense he's faced in his career, maybe. And I would just say the big thing, he's been so good with turnovers, right? Like you don't want to give him free points in this one against Dylan Gabriel in this offense.
It's the last thing you can do.
Like, don't turn the football over. Don't give him free points. So that's kind of the big thing for me. Anything you're specifically watching for Drake? Are you looking for him to slide more? That's been a big conversation this week. But anything from Drake in particular that you're looking at, and again, what could be the best defense he's faced in his young career here?
Again, not a style points game. Get in and out clean. Don't get hurt. Don't turn the ball over. I think getting the ball out quick. I know he likes the deep ball, and I like watching him throw the deep ball. And I'm not going to, say that he shouldn't throw it at all, but get the ball in and out of your hands quick. This isn't the week to lean on it. You want to, go nuts next week against Atlanta. Go for it. I actually don't know what Atlanta's deep ball defensive numbers are. We'll get to that next week, but
probably not great on the road. That Atlanta team is so weird.
So everybody's pointing out the home road split. It's not a home road split. It's an indoor outdoor split, because the one road game they played, they had one road game they played really well, and it was in Minnesota.
Okay.
So we will
outside.
They're in Miami this week, so we'll see if that trend continues. But this is a game. Just be surgical. Show off that short area accuracy. We're all waiting for the first 300-yard game. We were talking about it today. It feels like he should have one, but he doesn't. And I like that it's kind of hard to throw for 300 yards in an NFL game again. That should mean something. Don't get me wrong. I want to see it. I just don't think it needs to be this game.
Yeah. Would you, if you're targeting more of the short area of the field, are you changing anything in terms of your pass catching personnel? Like, could we see some Efton Chisholm? We saw a little bit of that package. Maybe he gets more targets, or maybe it's Pop underneath Diggs. Like, are you changing up anything maybe rotational wise in that receiver room for a game plan sort of
I don't know
specific?
about I don't know about rotationally, but I think there's got to be an emphasis on having hot reads in whatever you're calling and being able to get the ball out quick. And those are not easy adjustments to make mentally. And it's something McDaniels has done very well. But you usually see a veteran wide receiver in that role or veteran pass catcher. So a volume day for Diggs. Maybe we go back to seeing Hunter Henry in a volume role for this one, which we haven't seen in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I don't even think he's playing poorly. We're used to him driving the offense because he was like their only competent pass catcher. And so, like Drake Maye, I don't know that he trusted to throw the ball to anybody else last year. I think it was just Hunter Henry. This year, he obviously has a ton of guys he trusts. So it's not all on Hunter Henry's shoulders. And he's still playing solid football. So, but is this a week where he's a guy I definitely trust in that hot read, even check and release kind of role, and he can pick up yards after the catch. So I wonder if he's been on the field a lot. That's not going to change, but I do wonder if this is a game where Hunter Henry takes on more role. Now, that being said, Josh McDaniels traditionally that hot read receiver, hot read guy is usually wide receiver. So that could mean maybe a double-digit catch day for Stephon Diggs. It's probably going to be one of the two. I don't think it's going to be both because I don't think they're going to throw it that much volume. This is a game where the clock's going to be running. There's not going to be a lot of plays, I would think. But I think one of those two is in for a big day. We'll have to decide which one when we get to Prize Picks.
For our Prize Picks lineup. So, yeah, I could see that. I mean, Hooper and Henry, they both been blocking really well, especially last week in Tennessee. I thought they blocked well. But, we were talking earlier in the year, like Drake seemed to almost be forcing it at times for Hunter Henry, like in that Pittsburgh game, I think, maybe even against Vegas. And now it's really comfortable with all the receivers he seems, and he's spreading the ball around, although he had Henry once on the goal line last week, and it was one of those that he tucked and run. It was kind of like a box out play. He had him if he threw it with anticipation. So Henry's getting open at times and, still playing good football, as he said. He just doesn't need to carry the passing attack, which is nice, but definitely been quiet in the reception and receiving category. So we'll talk about those two again with Prize Picks and make a decision on who's gonna have that big day. But anything else from an offensive point of view here against this Browns defense?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
All right, let's jump over to the defense. But before we do that, we got to talk about our friends over at Prize Picks. And Barth, you and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right and simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in. We got Thursday Night Football coming up in about an hour for those listening live. We got Chargers, Vikings, Carson Wentz, Justin Herbert, tons of good receivers, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Lad McConkey, Quentin Johnson, Keenan Allen. The list goes on and on. Plenty of guys to put in your Prize Picks lineup. You can also go to other sports. NBA has started up. NHL. Bruins just literally scored. Surprisingly, I didn't know they could do that quickly. Casey Middlestat. So you could put some hockey players in your Prize Picks lineup as well and get into all the fun. So make sure you download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup over on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. All right, to this Patriots defense. Barth, I think last week we talked about this sample size of Patriots defense with Christian Gonzalez back, not in the blowout game against Carolina because that one was tough, right? And they played a lot of man against Buffalo, and then they kind of dialed that back against the Saints. And we said, what are they really? Like, what kind of defense do they want to be? And then against the Titans, didn't play a lot of man again. So against the Saints and Titans, I think it was less than 10 coverage snaps in man-to-man coverage. Are you more confident that is the style of defense maybe the Patriots want to play, or is it more game plan specific? And maybe this week they go in and they play a bunch of man coverage.
Maybe that's who they want to be. I mean, this is they did play. I don't know. I feel like they played a decent amount of man in that game. I just this coaching staff's background is in zone though, And I wonder if, even though they have all these man cover corners, Gonzalez, Davis, Marcus Jones, I wonder if they see the coverage struggling and fall back to what they know. Whether that's right or wrong, we could debate. Like, I think that I personally believe when done correctly, like, I prefer man coverage to zone coverage. I just think it's a more effective tool, but I also think it's a lot harder to do. And I think you can get by better with bad zone coverage as opposed to bad man coverage. So they should be a good man coverage team. If they're not, maybe they default back to that. Evan had a whole rant. He did a good job. It's pretty in depth on Catch 22 about some of the different styles of man they can use and help over the middle with the safety in terms of using a robber or a buzz defender or something like that. So maybe there's an element to that. I just do know they should be better in coverage than they've been, given the talent on the roster. And Christian Gonzalez should be, good to go by now. And he looked good in the second half of that Bills game. And even in this game, I thought he was solid. Like, the one big catch he allowed, that's an insane catch by Van Jefferson. Like,
it was all over him too. Yeah.
Right. You tip your cap on that one. Like,
it feels like any catch he's allowed, like he's made the tackle because he's literally just been right there.
Right. Carlton Davis, I'll say it again. I think people have been harder on him than his play would indicate, but he did get beat kind of bad on that one play where he fell over. They're still having trouble with the speed. I can't, this is the third time this year I've gone to this take. I've never used it before and it's annoying me. I think guys just like, there's room for guys to play better. We know Carlton Davis can be better than this. We know Christian Gonzalez can be better than this. He's been pretty good. Maybe it is about the help and the leverage and things like that. So maybe there are probably some more schematic things here they can do, but I don't think it's an issue of like, they're not good enough and they need to change the strategy, big picture, to compensate for lack of talent.
Yeah. I think there could be something there because we were talking all those catches against Tennessee. And I think we mentioned this on Monday in the recap, like all of these seem to be over the middle of the field. And you mentioned the staff's background with zone, and this is probably, Evan and Taylor and I were talking about this today and yesterday. So it might be a little overlap, but like, it's very different from how like Belichick played man with the robber in the middle of the help you were talking about. And you're literally leaving your corners like on pure islands because they're bringing extra, pressure and guys from the second level. And that's like really hard. And so like we were saying with Christian Gonzalez, like he's doing the best he can and he's like right on the guy and then he tackles him, but he doesn't have any help over the middle of the field. And that goes back to maybe that's the staff just doesn't have a like good fundamental knowledge like Bill did all those years of playing man because, they played a lot of zone in Tennessee. And then it gets to the point where like, I don't know. I would, if you give their corners a little bit more help, just someone in the middle of the field, like I would have plenty of trust in the pass rush in those guys you have up there, that if the coverage makes the quarterback hold the ball an extra half second, that those guys up front could get home. Like, I don't think they need to really bring that pressure because then you're just seeing, middle of the field wide open and they're getting the ball out and beating you that way.
Well, there's also an element too of, so when you're struggling in coverage, you have two options. You either send more assets to coverage like you're talking about and those safeties in the middle of the field, or you try to up your pass rush and make it so those guys don't have to cover as long. And Vrabel was asked about the coverage this week, not in that sense directly, but he talked about needing to get after the quarterback more. So I wonder if their answer isn't giving more help to the corners. I wonder if their answer is going to be giving more help to the pass rush. And I mean, good week to do it. The Browns line sucks, but like big picture, I wonder if that's what they're going to try to do. Just, hey, if we're sending 5, we're sending 6, and these guys are 1-on-1, but they only have to cover for 2 seconds instead of 3.5, because we're going to have free rushers. Maybe that's what they view as the answer.
Yeah. So he mentioned the question, I just pulled it up. It says, you guys have kind of gotten away from man coverage in the last couple of weeks. Is that more a product of game plan or execution when actually playing it? Because their numbers have not been good, again, in man coverage. So he said probably a little bit of both. When we play man, we've got to not let our man catch the ball. We've got to be able to get to the quarterback and force them to get rid of it maybe before those routes can separate or run away. So, he kind of hinted at more pressure there, which that's what they've been doing, and I don't think it's been working because you're seeing guys catch the ball. So,
well, no, more pressure.
But how much more pressure can they give, right? Like they're already.
We might find out.
Okay, we're just engage 8. Let's dial up some engage 8s in this
Well,
one.
look, there's 5 eligible pass catchers.
Yeah.
So if you're comfortable going one-on-one across the board, you can send 6.
Yeah, just pure cover 0. Just cover 0 it up. So maybe they do that, but that's what kind of their man coverage is looking right now, because it has been disappointing just by the numbers, and with these corners, like they should be better, but it does seem like maybe a scheme in the pressure versus coverage debate right now. But against Dylan Gabriel and the Browns offense, he, as we saw at Oregon, I don't think we talked about him much in draft talk.
No.
Luckily, we didn't have to do quarterbacks this year, but doesn't push the ball downfield much. I think he's 11 of 31, 32 on passes that travel over 10 yards, 10 air
he's
yards.
1 of 4 on passes that are 20-plus yards downfield.
So not good throwing the ball downfield. So are you heating him up? Are you playing press man? What's kind of your strategy in that department this week?
Yeah, I'm sitting on all the short stuff. I don't know that you need to blitz him just because I think he already looks a little sped up, and that line isn't great. So, I'm just kind of sitting on the short stuff. He hasn't turned the ball over. He's just super conservative. And if he wants to throw 2-yard slants and step up and make the tackle, I'll let him do that all day. Like, you can't gift the Browns anything in this game. It's the only way they're going to win. It's not even bend, don't break, because bend, don't break implies giving up. We saw it in the
40 yards.
Right. In the Bills, not the Bills game, the Saints game, how much they were playing off. Like, you don't need to play off, but it's just play your game. The big thing for me is tackling, because the only guys that can really get you on this offense, Jerry Jeudy's a very good player. I don't think he's a threat because of who's throwing him the ball.
He didn't even practice today, too, I think.
I thought he was back today. He didn't practice yesterday. Or did he not practice again today? I think it was somebody else who was back.
You can keep talking.
Yeah, no, he was back today.
Okay.
He was limited, but he was back. But the point I was making is, like, because of who's throwing the ball, I don't let them throw Jerry Jeudy deep balls into one-on-one coverage against Christian Gonzalez. I think the Patriots win if that's their game plan. The guys that can really get you are Njoku, who's hurt, Harold Fannin, who is a rookie, and I also think is hurt. No, he's not hurt, but he is a rookie. And obviously Quinshon Judkins, who's really starting to come on strong here. Those guys are all like ball in the hand threats. David Njoku's not running 20-yard routes. So just step up and tackle. Like, I do think it's that simple, because they can't get enough air yards to make a difference. And with Judkins, this is one of the best run defenses in the league. Just do your job, and you should be able to get some extra help, because they don't need to play too high. They don't need to play double high safety. So that's where I'm at with it. Like, I think it's a very much just, I don't know that there's no Tuesday morning player. Just make your tackles, be mindful around the line of scrimmage. If they can get that first turnover, that'd be great. And that should be enough. They're not going to create explosive plays. Their only explosive plays are going to come if you give them to them. They didn't score more than 17 points in the game until last week. They did get to 31 last week, but that was one defensive score and 2 more scoring drives that started on the plus side of the field because the Dolphins turned the ball over, including one where they got the ball to 2.
Yeah.
So they're only going to get what you give them. So if you just play sound fundamental football, there's really no opportunity for them to create on top of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Judkins has been fantastic.
Judkins is the one guy. Like, if Judkins breaks a big run, there might be a tip your cap element to that. But also, again, like, their line's just really not good.
Mm-hmm. He's
breaking big runs. I was numbers here. He's breaking big runs because he's breaking tackles. He's not breaking big runs because, seal here, and boom, you hit the hole. He is average, where is it? He has 8 broken tackles on 109 carries.
Okay. So, yeah. But, Patriots' run defense has been so good. And as we said, you can probably put some more investments or resources in there with not much of a threat at the receiver position. So they should be able to, unless Judkins just goes kind of sicko mode and breaks one of those long runs, they should be able to contain him. But are you worried about the tight ends? Like, how are you? You just said that was one of the things we're looking at. And they use these guys, I think 12 personnel, the second highest rate in football. These are like some really athletic, physical freaks, and the Patriots have obviously, this is something we talked about since training camp, had issues covering tight end. So are you trying maybe, we saw a little bit more Marte Mapu. I know some of that was in garbage time against the Titans. Like, what's kind of the game plan to try and take those guys out of the game if you can?
For them, it's just cut. Like, maybe you see Marte Mapu more as a tight end stopper. They're still looking for that guy. The reason I had to think is because I'm trying to think, all right, well, Craig Woodson missed the first day of practice today. Hawkins is back, but he's still on the injury report. Now Kyle Duggar's added to the injury report. I don't think you're going to put a linebacker on him, especially not Njoku. I think he's too fast for that. You need a safety. Whatever safety, I guess, is out there. I don't know if they,
They could go more. They could go more 3 safety nickel. Like, we haven't seen a lot of that.
Do they have 3 safeties?
Well, yeah, if they are healthy,
right?
Maybe because Duggar has been playing a little bit better late, and we haven't seen much 3 safety nickel because they had some guys hurt. Duggar wasn't looking fantastic out of the gate. So, but now with him playing a little bit better, and if they are healthy, like maybe you see some more of that just to get some bigger bodies out there. So maybe that's a way to do things. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I still see maybe them try Mapu. I think he's maybe fast enough, but I still like there's no real tight end stopper that I feel like has been identified on this team.
Yep, I agree. So anything else? Any players looking at? Patriots defense, Browns offense could be another good one for Caleb on Chason against Cam Robinson out there on the edge. Anything else?
I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, you want to see Chason build on what he did in the last game. I think that's pretty much it.
All right. Any special teams takes to get off your chest before we get into our prize picks lineup?
The Browns are not a good special teams unit. So, like, pretty much across the board. Kickoff, kick return, punt return. So that should be... I do think this game is going to be sneaky close. This game, I feel like, is going to remind us a lot of some of those games late in the Belichick tenure where the defense was still really good, but they just didn't, whether it was Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi, they just didn't have it at quarterback. And so, it was close on the scoreboard, but it was like 10-0 at the start of the second half, or even like 10-3 at the start of the second half. And we'd be like, that's just, they can't overcome it. That's kind of who now I say it's going to be like that, obviously in the reverse, right? The Browns are that team. So even though the Patriots are a much better team, the Browns have some matchup things that can close the gap. So this one might come down to the margins a little more in the last couple of weeks. I said, I did the Patriots Hub podcast with Matt Dolph earlier. I said 21-10 Pats. But this could be the kind of game where you steal a big kick return, big punt return. It could be ultimately be a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Don't give them any momentum. That's kind of the big thing. Like with Drake throwing and hold on to the ball. Don't give them.
It's a great way to put it. If you let the Browns into this game, they'll hang around.
Yeah,
they have the defensive talent to hang around if you give them opportunities. If you don't give them opportunities, they can't do it themselves.
Definitely.
Whereas, like, even with the Titans and Saints the last couple weeks, especially the Titans, even if you gave them a couple offers, like the Patriots spotted them an early lead, and they
were going to give it back to you. AKA
right? Yeah.
Cam Ward throwing the ball on the ground, right outside his end zone. So, all right, let's go over to our prize picks lineup for the week. I was just scrolling through. They got a ton of options available. They got some defensive linemen if we want to get some sacks on here.
Well, we had a horrible week last week, so we got bounce back.
I was looking at Drake. If you think a lot of short passes, his pass completions are 20. Do you think he'll go more than that? 20 completions? I mean, he's been up there, I would say, most
Yeah,
weeks.
you know what? I feel like he's really going to be focusing on not scrambling.
Yeah. So I like more than 20 pass completions.
Let's do more than 20 pass completions.
I think that's a good one. We were talking Diggs and Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry is more than 2.5 receptions, but that's like that easy one that we don't.
Okay, so no, we don't do those.
His yards are 34.5, or Stephon Diggs is more than 4.5 receptions. Kind of like that.
Yeah, let's do that.
5 receptions.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say we probably avoid Travion Henderson for the unknown there. Robert Spillane, 8.5 total tackles.
Who defensive linemen that they have?
So they got Kayvon Chason, Milton Williams, more than half a sack.
Yeah, I like Milton Williams to get a sack in this game. If he gets half a sack, we get a push, right?
I believe so. They also have Harold Landry and Christian Barmore for the same thing, half a sack.
Let's go Milton Williams. Feels like he's due.
Okay.
Do they have Cody Bojorquez?
Patriots legend.
Right. I want to get Cody Bojorquez in this. They usually have the punter.
It's B-O-R-O, right?
Yeah.
Then no.
Or no, is it B-O-J? No, B-O-J-O.
B-O-J-O?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like they have him yet.
That's disappointing.
Unfortunately.
Upsetting.
Wayne. We can look at some Browns, though. Devin Bush, David Njoku, Dylan Gabriel, more than half an interception. I know he hasn't thrown an interception this year.
He hasn't thrown a pick yet. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
I wanted Fannin or like Judkins. Myles Garrett, you think he gets a sack?
Yeah. He's at a sack all 3 times he's faced Patriots. 2 of those were against McDaniels.
Okay, we'll put that one on there. Judkins is 67.5 receiving yards.
Judkins 67.5 receiving yards.
Rush yards. Excuse me. And then
he's been
Fannin only has a touchdown available, and so does Njoku. So we can't do their yards or receptions.
We might have to do another sicko game here. I'm not loving any of these.
2 sicko games? We could do 2.
Which is weird because I was looking at the schedule and there's like no. This week actually kind of rules.
Good slate.
Well, I guess Dolphins Falcons is probably the worst game, but like Bears Ravens. Oh no, Lamar's not back yet.
He might be. He's been limited.
Oh, okay. My phone cut off the top couple games. I was like, this slate's too good. There's a lot of interesting games here.
Well, there's also freaking 6 teams on bye this week, which is insane.
So that's probably part of it. There's also Jets Bengals.
That's gross. And we don't know who the Jets quarterback is, I think.
Oh, okay. Are there any picks for Jets quarterbacks? That would be the most sicko thing we could do is try to guess who the Jets quarterback is.
No. They have Nick Folk more than 1.5 field goals, if they could even get in field goals.
I mean, that Bengals defense sucks, but I don't trust the Jets in the red zone. That actually might be the play.
Okay. Nick Folk, more than
throw that in.
1.5 field goals made.
Yeah.
And then do we have another? What'd you say?
What's the worst game? Miami, Atlanta.
I mean, that's in Miami, right? You said so.
It's in Atlanta.
Oh, damn!
I got that wrong earlier. You know what? That's good because it's a divisional opponent for the Patriots, and it's their next opponent. So that is kind of a relevant game for Patriots fans to watch.
Okay.
Do that.
We go Tua or Penix.
Penix might not. Yeah, they haven't said yet. What do we got for? I think we did Tua a couple weeks ago. We got it wrong, but what do they have for Tua?
Tua rush yards. He's got 32.5 longest completion, 201.5 pass yards, 4.5 rush yards. We could go back to the rush yards.
What do they have for Bijan?
Oh, he should go off. Every running back goes off against.
Yeah.
19.5 longest rush, or 129.5 total yards, or 89.5 rush yards. More than both.
Those all feel good.
Probably the rush yards.
I was thinking the 20 plus.
The 19.5 longest rush.
He should have a 20 plus yard run.
He'll break one.
Yeah.
That Dolphins defense is stinky against the run. All right, so we got our 6. Going 2 sicko games this week. Drake Maye, more than 20 pass completions. Milton Williams, more than half a sack. Myles Garrett, more than half a sack. Stephon Diggs, more than 4.5 receptions. Then we got Nick Folk, more 1.5 field goals made. And Bijan Robinson against the Falcons, more than 19.5. Longest rush, first place multiplier, 45-time multiplier. So For new users, if you sign up, you get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. So if you put $5 on that lineup, you take home $225 if we win, and then if you want to put that 50, you get on it as well, $2,220 or $2,250 if we hit all of our picks. I like the lineup, looking good. We'll tweet that out before kickoff if you guys want to play along with us. And again, use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup over on Prize Picks. There we go. Feeling good about that one. So, Barth, any closing thoughts before we wrap this one up?
A couple things probably worth us touching on. You see those Miami jerseys, University of Miami jerseys for next week?
I did not. I saw the Oregon ones.
Oh, look up the Miami ones real quick. I want your
that they are going to wear when they beat Wisconsin, probably 50-0.
The Chargers ones tonight will be good. I wish they didn't have the number on the side of the helmet, but other than that, it's very nostalgic. Those Miami ones are atrocious. That's going to go down as an all-time bad. Yeah, exactly.
This
Carson
one?
Yeah, Carson Beck already can't see his receivers, and now they're going to hide them.
Why are they doing camo?
Right. Nothing against camo. Nothing against the military. It's just objective. Like, there are some very cool camo uniforms. Oregon State had some great ones this year. This is not it.
I just don't get Miami doing it.
Right. There's no semblance of, like, if they mixed in some orange, that could be any school. Like, you've got to somehow make it, like, tie it back.
It's not a bad jersey, but it's just not a Miami jersey.
Right. They changed the number font. The number font is the font that Army uses.
Yeah.
So
that's weird.
I don't really understand what they're doing here. But my other thought, I mean, because it's just such a major sports story. Your thoughts on the NBA scandal and all that?
That's crazy. Not surprising. Like, you knew guys are doing this. We've seen guys get busted for gambling before, but like the levels to the poker stuff with Chauncey Billups was insane with the x-ray machines and everything. And just, I'd imagine this is just kind of the beginning of it. We're going to get more and more stuff coming out and probably more players. So, but yeah, that was an absolute crazy story with Rozier and everything going on.
Yeah, the poker side of it is ridiculous. I mean, that's they're gonna make a movie about that. It's gonna be a hell of a movie. The Rozier thing, I caught inside the NBA before we came on here, and the NBA dropped the ball a little bit. The Terry Rozier thing, remember, he was investigated for this a while ago,
and he came back.
Right. If the league knew that he was essentially, he wasn't directly point shaving, but he was essentially fixing games, and they didn't care, and they continued to allow him to play because they didn't want to deal with the fallout, or they didn't know. Either way, it's a horrible look for the NBA, especially a league that has the history of Tim Donaghy and all that. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how they handle it. I know they put out a statement today. That's been it, but they've got to crack down. You can't have it. Or they got to do a better job of sweeping it under the rug. I mean, Shohei Ohtani's the big winner today, right? Like, they were investigating some of these guys for months. Ohtani, they took, 3 days and cleared them. So, yeah, it's a pretty big misstep. Like, I don't know. If you want to call me childish, you can. Like, I do think there's something sacred about the competitive element of sports, and I know it's a business, and there are legitimate financial reasons that certain things are done that maybe aren't tailored to the fan. You cannot allow any semblance of this in your league, whether you're the NBA, whether you're the NHL, MLB, NFL. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the other leagues now mandate, so like, have some sort of training or seminar or something for their players. You know, just as hey, we're sending this guy. He's going to talk to the team. You know, you got to carve out an hour in your schedule during the day to do it. Like, these leagues cannot have this, and it sucks because I hate it when, you know, people will talk about a result of a game or whatever and be like, it's fixed, blah, blah, blah. Like, who are you kidding? And I think it's such a disservice to the athletes because they're busting their ass for these results and they deserve to be recognized. And you give those people just so much fuel and so much ammunition when you allow this in your league. So I'm not saying the NBA actively allowed it, but whether they did or whether they didn't actively allow it because they didn't know what was going on, but it was still going on under their nose, that's not great either. This is a pretty seismic story, not just for basketball, but for all sports. I wanted to touch on it real quick.
Definitely.
And I'm guessing we're just scraping the surface. I bet there's
going to be. I think there's going to be a lot more that comes out to it.
Yeah.
But good thing the college athletes, they announced yesterday that they can bet on professional sports. Great timing.
Only the NCAA would have that kind of time because none of those guys are friends with pro athletes, and that's not an issue at all. So, no.
Just great timing there by the NCAA, as usual. But
they're one to do.
Crazy story. We'll see if more comes out. Hopefully it doesn't extend into the football world, but who knows? We'll see what happens. But we'll wrap up there. Again, Patriots, Browns, Sunday. We'll be back next week to break it down. Hopefully the Patriots get their 5th straight win of the season and keep this thing rolling. So make sure you guys are locked onto Patriots Press Pass, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on your notifications so you know when we are going to go live again early next week to break that one down. And if you are on audio only, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else you do that as well. We would greatly appreciate that. You can also follow Barth on Twitter at RealAlexBarth. Head over to 985thsportshub.com for his Patriots coverage there. And you can follow me on Twitter at I am Brian Hines, and head over to patspulpit.com for our Patriots coverage online there as well. So thanks again, everyone, for jumping on with us tonight. Have a great weekend. Enjoy all your football, and we will see you guys next week.